Okay, today I'm going to try to read to you. Hopefully it succeeds. Curious George feeds the animals. This is George. George was a good little monkey and always very curious. One day, George went to the zoo with his friend, the man with the yellow hat. A new rainforest exhibit was opening, and they wanted to be the first ones inside. But when they got to the new exhibit, the doors were closed. "We'll have to come back later, George," the man said. "Why don't we visit the other animals while we wait?" First, they stopped to watch a zookeeper feed the seals. When he tossed little fish in the air, the seals jumped up to catch them. Then they barked for more. It looked like fun to feed the animals. That's where it's closed, and this is where they're feeding the animals. "Would you like something to eat, George?" said the man with the yellow hat, and he bought a snack for both of them to share. When they stopped to see the crocodile, George remembered how the zookeeper had fed fish to the seals. He was curious. Would the crocodile like something to eat? George tossed him a treat, and the crocodile snapped it out of the air. See? There's George. He tossed him a treat. Next, they visited the koalas. George thought the koalas were very cute. Here was a friendly one. She was a curious one, too. She wanted to see what George was eating, so she held out her hand to share. George shared his treats with the elephant and a baby kangaroo. George was making lots of new friends at the zoo. The lion was already eating, but the hippopotamus tried a snack. Next, he gave a treat to an ostrich. Then George saw the giraffes. Ooh, what fun to feed a giraffe. Giraffes usually have their heads up high in the trees, but George could see these giraffes would be easy to feed. But as soon as he held out his hand, a zookeeper came running. The zookeeper looked angry. Was he angry with George? George didn't know. And when he didn't want to stay around to find out. He slipped away. See the giraffes with their heads sticking up? And there's George. And see, when he starts to feed the giraffes, the zookeeper comes running. Let's see what happened. And the giraffes were happy to help George escape. But where did George go? Oh my goodness, they couldn't find George. Can you tell where George went? Let's see. See him sliding down off the giraffe? And then, where do you think George went? Can you see? Do you have any idea? He was trying his best to hide, but little monkeys can't stay still for long. When George wiggled, the zookeeper was waiting. "I see you," he said. Just then, another zookeeper hurried by. "Come quick," she yelled. "Someone saw the parrot." The first zookeeper led George to a bench. "The parrot from our new exhibit escaped, and I want to help find it," he explained. He told George to wait for him there, and before he left, he said, "Don't you know you're not supposed to feed the animals? The wrong food might make them sick." George felt so bad. He didn't know he wasn't supposed to feed the animals. He didn't want to make them sick. George was looking at the treat in his hand when all of a sudden, what do you think? Let's see what happened. Let's look at these. And there's George sitting, looking at the treat in his hand. All of a sudden, what happened? A big bird swooped down and snatched it right up. Now George knew he wasn't supposed to feed the animals, but this one had just helped himself. A zookeeper passing by was happy to see George. "You found the parrot," she said. "We've been looking for this bird all day." When she saw George's snack, she said, "This isn't the best thing to feed a parrot, but a little won't hurt. Would you like to help me put him back where he belongs?" George was glad to help. After all, the trouble he had caused, he felt that he better do something good. See the parrot swishing down? And see the zookeeper walking with George?